Why? Why would you make a sequel to something as horrible as Hot Tub Time Machine? And then why would you make the sequel even worse? Like, almost literally no redeemable quality to the film whatsoever. Why? I have little faith in human society now. So yeah, if you haven't figured it out already from the intro, I did not like Hot Tub Time Machine. In fact, for me, it was one of the worst films of that year. I couldn't like any of the characters. They were just way too jerky, just way too horrible of people. And the ending was just like a kick in the balls when it made the worst of the four people the most successful because he rips off ideas that hadn't even happened yet. It was a horrible film, and the only reason I would give it maybe a half a star or maybe even 1 star is because it did have some legitimate heart in the film. It's just not enough heart for me to actually like the film. And now we have Hot Tub Time Machine 2, and it is even worse. So Hot Tub Time Machine 2 takes place with all the characters being successful now, or successful after they went back in time and ripped off ideas and of the future and yada yada yada, and the biggest jerk of them all is this rich and powerful and singer for Motley Crue, or in this reality Motley Lou or Hugh or whatever the frick his name is. And at least Craig Robinson's character shows a little bit of remorse for the songs he started stealing. That's the only... I have to give his character credit for that, because he's way less jerky than this terrible person for a human being, or at least this character in a movie that is the worst possible. And yeah, I know, the film's called Hot Tub Time Machine. What am I supposed to expect from it? But even then, it still just fails at being at least entertaining. There's a few moments where I did chuckle, and there's a few moments that I felt little teeny lines and one-liners were funny, but other than that, it was very boring, and there was like no point where I just laughed hysterically. Ultimately, the film is about the biggest jerk of them all getting shot in the frickin' balls at this party that he's hosting. And so our people try to go back in time to stop that murder from happening, which honestly I'm completely surprised by why they would do it, because he's such a frickin' big jerk. I just let him die on the stairs there, and just like, oh, yeah. There's no need to stop them from stopping his assassination. He was a terrible human being. But if they didn't go back in time to stop the murder from happening, then there would be no movie. Which makes me question why this movie even exists. But of course, when they go back in time for the Hot Tub Time Machine, it actually sends them into a future of an alternate reality, because apparently someone from that alternate reality is going to go back in time to kill the frickin' jerk and shoot him in the balls. So the whole movie is just... there's a lot... almost the entire movie is just a complete mess and feels completely random and unnecessary. No, it really does. It feels unnecessary, and it takes forever for it to get to a point. ultimately, when you see the twist eventually happen, you realize, okay, maybe some of this stuff isn't as useless as it made me think it was as I was watching it. But that still doesn't erase the fact that when you watched it for the first time, you felt like this is freaking useless, and just get to the freaking point. There's some interesting futuresque technologies and stuff in the film, but ultimately a lot of it has already been done before by far better films, and when it has the chance to actually have some social commentary or some sort of parody, it fails and doesn't even try. Just a lot of this film feels like it's not even trying and doesn't really care. It's just making a sequel because the first one was popular enough to make money, and they're just gonna get your money, and they're just like, ha! F you! That's what the film completely feels like. At least to me. And eventually, the movie tries to make itself serious and tries to boost a little bit of heart in the film, but ultimately it's way too late, and it just feels like I don't know how to explain it. It's not enough. It's simply not enough. Yeah, this whole movie just feels completely lazy and unnecessary. And there's even one scene that I can demonstrate to you that is completely lazy and lackluster, and it might get the point across that this is a terrible film. Okay, I'm going to try to recreate the scene as possible because I'm not going to be able to show you the scene, but yeah, I memorized a little bit of it, and this is how bad the editing is for this scene. It has like 3 freaking mistakes in it that are blatantly obvious, and let's see if you can figure them out. So in the scene, the kid, I forgot all the names because I don't really even care. I'm just going to call him the kid because he's the jerk's kid. But the kid is explaining that they're in this alternate universe that's the future, and trying to explain that someone from this alternate future is going to go back in time to kill Lou and all this timeline weird stuff. He tries to explain it basically while the jerk and Craig Robinson are sitting on the couch listening to the whole thing. And after he explains it, then Craig makes a reference to Looper, saying, oh, it's like Looper. And they have this little argument about Looper because the jerk hasn't seen it, it's on its queue, and all this stuff. And eventually it leads to a point where Craig Robinson just says, high five. Yeah, and that's not bad editing for me. I meant to edit it to a point where he gets up, because in the film, Craig Robinson gets up. Now, just keep paying attention, because this is not me making mistakes. This is me actually trying to recreate the scene for you. Just pay attention to how many times he gets up and how many times he's on the couch and stuff. Just pay attention. So the kid is in front of them, and he's talking to him, and he's comments, high five? Did you just say high five instead of actually high-fiving? That's lazy. And then it goes to a bunch of quick jump cuts where it has Craig Robinson and the jerk just telling each other high five. High five. High five. High five. And yeah, the scene where they're saying high five to each other, they're both sitting on the couch still, even though technically the last shot we saw of Craig Robinson, he got up as he said high five. So they're both on the couch again. And so it's another close-up of the kid, and he's like, what, you guys are too lazy to just do this? And then literally the next shot is a wide shot of both of the people on the couch getting up. No, they get up. Then goes back to another close-up of the kid standing up, and goes and comments about something that is way overdue, that happened way before the whole Looper joke, where the guys wanted to go to just this strip club and just have fun. And so he's like, guys, we can't just fool around, we gotta find the murderer. And guess what happens? Craig Robinson and the jerk, in the very next shot, are both still sitting down on the couch. No, they're sitting down on the couch as if they had not gotten up whatsoever. And the jerk is like, or we can just go to a strip club and not care about the murder. And he gets up. And next thing you know, we see another long shot of both of them again, both getting up again. Is something missing in that scene? Are we supposed to see them get up like 2 or 3 different times? Has this whole scene and dialogue and the shots been so jumbled and mixed up that they're not in the same exact order as they're supposed to be? What is going on? Yeah, the whole film just screams lazy, unnecessary, terrible. But bear in mind, I did laugh at a few one-liners. I did chuckle. There's some moments that made me smile, and they try to shove heart into this film. It doesn't work, but they try, and that's a little commendable, even though it does not work. So in the end, I can't give Hot Tub Time Machine 2 an absolute 0, because there is far worse films out there, and a 0 for me means I didn't like a single thing in the film. And just because of those few chuckles and those few smiles I had with some of the one-liners, I am giving Hot Tub Time Machine 2 a half a star. So have you seen Hot Tub Time Machine 2? What did you think about it? Did you hate it just as much as I did? I hope you did. I hope you didn't like it. Because you're not going to like this review, basically. So, on that same note, if you haven't seen it, what's your favorite time-traveling movie? I guess. Or time-traveling comedy. There you go, because this is supposed to be a comedy. As always, this is Bruce Gifford, and this was Just My Opinion.